So usually here at Wither and Bloom Studios, we play in our homebrew world of Vesper. Vesper is a world created entirely by our wonderful GM, Todd Lambrix, and is going to be coming out next year as a campaign frame, and we're all really excited. But next week we're playing Beast Feast. We want to try out Daggerheart's tastiest campaign frame. And I have less than a week to make a character, so come along with me as I document every step of my process. During this process, you are going to see some badass art made in-house by our wonderful artist Jay, and you are going to see me delineate between all the awesome Ancestry, community, class, and now transformation options. And hopefully, you're going to pick up a thing or two about creating characters. And if any and all of that sounds good to you, let's get going. Research. Before I ever do an audition, I find it really important to know what kind of project I am looking to be a part of. I need to know what kind of story we are trying to tell, right? I may create an awesome laugh out loud character, right? But if they drop that character into Lord of the Rings, I may stand out in a bad way. It may clash, and we're not looking to do that, right? Being aware of the overall vision and message will aid every facet of the story, right? So knowing where you fit in the story and the story you're trying to tell helps everyone and the people experiencing the story. So let me read up, and I will get back to y'all in just a minute. Reading. Rich is reading. He's looking at words. He's taking them in. He's picturing them in almost a movie in his brain, and then it's going to some comprehension center upstairs. Hopefully he retains some of this information. Sometimes he's a slow reader. Sometimes he has to reread sentences because his mind moved on to something else. Oh, he's done. Look at that. Okay. So, right off the rip, I am really excited to play an everyday person. According to the book, my character is supposed to be from the village of Elmore, a place of peace, a small oasis protected by a spell that resides at the bottom of a nearby cave system. The spell was put in place years ago by a wizard, and it lures all the nearby creatures to it and away from the village. All is perfect in Elmore until the spell stops working and the creatures begin to venture forth. I am one of the few everyday citizens who finds themselves stepping up to the plate and journeying down into the cave to reactivate the spell. The setup is simple, yet inspired. It begs you to play an everyday Joe who forces themselves to become something more. It's an underdog story. It's a zero to hero story, and I have lots of ideas. Of course, all this information is just a suggestion, but I think I want to lean into this setting's strengths because honestly, I don't know the next time I'll have the opportunity to play such a human, down-to-earth, and relatable everyday character. And plus the mechanics of cooking and the reflavoring. You see what I did there? You see the reflavoring of the weapons begs your party to treat this as a humble adventure. Occupation. With this being a humble adventure, I think it would be important to start with what my character does on a daily basis, right? I normally wouldn't start with occupation, but I can't get past how awesome the list of weapons and armor is, right? Firework launcher, large fork, barrel lid. I mean, come on, it's so inspired, and the only answer to why I would pick any of these items is my occupation. What did I spend my life doing? And how would those skills/tools I've mastered help me down in the caves? Thinking. Rich is thinking. He's thinking. Ooh, he's still thinking. Oh, what's next? Thinking. What's on deck? Thinking. Oh, he's done. All right. I gotta go with the fishing rod as my primary weapon. So, that means I'm a fisherman. It's too fun. And the other option for me was the firework launcher, but I've already played a pyromaniac, so that's old news. But Apparently not too old news because my secondary is going to be a flare launcher. It was so hard to pick a secondary weapon because I just kept rethinking my primary weapon and how it would pair up together. And then I looked at the magic weapons and those are all hilarious too. And I had to lock in. So I am a fisherman in our village. More specifically, the graveyard shift fisherman. I fish at night when the glowfish come out and I send flares up for lost ships if they can't find their way here. I'm basically the lighthouse for the village. And because I work the night shift, I look 20 years older than I actually am. I have grown out graying brown hair with a mustache and I am unsettlingly lanky. Due to my years of fishing, I have fascinatingly fast reflexes and lean muscle. I got that old man strength. You know, when I was in high school, I did wrestling and the coach, one of the coaches, he was old as dirt, man. But this guy, he had this like vice grip. He was so strong and he would just be like, oh, let me show you this move. And then he would just absolutely break every bone in your body showing you this move. And he was so strong. That's basically this character, right? And I go down into the cave with nothing but quilted clothing because if I'm gonna die in my work clothes and a fishing rod in my hand like a man. That's what I think my character is gonna sound like. You could see how going through the process leads you further down the process, right? So I just picked my weapons and my armor, and I'm really starting to get a good sense of who this character is already. So let's keep going. Class. Ranger, obviously. I'm dexterous. I'm good at hunting. I'm lonely and weird because I stay up all night alone, so I must have an animal companion to keep me sane. Beastbound Ranger it is. The goodest boy or girl. So there is actually a step-by-step process in the book for creating companions, so here we go. Number 1, their name is Lamp. Number 2, their evasion starts at 10. Number 3, I tell them everything. We sit on the dock all night just talking, laughing, and sharing traumas. Their first experience is great listener, and their second experience is lure because they hunt in the water via their angler-style light on their head. And their weapons are their sharp claws and teeth. After answering these questions, I have come up with the realization that my companion has to be an angler seal. Yes, there's no other option. This is happening. Body of a seal, thick boy, lamp on his head. Has to happen. His name is Lamp. I love him very much. Let's continue. Ancestry. The only ancestry out of the base book that interested me at first was human, right? Because the way I've described it, maybe thinking about my coach assaulting students basically and breaking every bone in their body, I thought of human, but that's kind of boring sometimes, right? So I decided to look into the void and see what I could find. And I like trying the new stuff on the void because you can give feedback to Darrington Press, and by the time they've released the actual book, they'll take that feedback into consideration. We've seen them do it before with the actual core book that they have put out now. They did it during the beta, they put out all of this stuff. We gave our feedback and they incorporated it. So I like to play from the void. When looking into the void, I gotta say one really stuck out to me, and that was the Skykin. They're pretty great. They have this ability to conjure gusts of wind at the cost of just a single stress whenever they want. I mean, which fits my character's job so well, right? Like if there's a ship lost at sea and it can't find its way in, or it's a dangerous night, a big storm and the waves are huge, I could kind of direct this ship into a safe port, right? I mean, on top of that, I also get a bonus to evasion, which just synergizes, but I am a sucker for a mixed ancestry, and simians have just a flat-out better boost to their evasion, so drum roll, please. I'm playing a Simi Sky. Community. With my character's affinity for the sea and their complacency for small town life, the only option is Seaborn, obviously. The cards. As a level 1 adventurer in Daggerheart, I am supposed to start with 2 domain cards. When I pick domain cards, I try not to just power game. I try to pick abilities that actually make sense for my character, for them being able to accomplish, right? I don't care about being the most powerful player at the table. I care about being the most true character in telling a good story. So, my first card is going to be Nature's Tongue, which lets me speak to animals and plants once I pass a certain spellcast roll. I mean, come on, this is perfect because I've spent all my life on a dock at night talking to an angler seal. It makes sense, I'm not crazy. I did actually play a crazy character in our last campaign, a Clockwork Silence, but that was fun, great time. We're not doing that again though. So, my second card is gonna be I See It Coming, because I really do see it coming. Like I said, old man senses, man, keen fishing vision, any ripple in the water, any bounce from my pole, I'm gonna feel it, and I'm gonna react. Cooking time. Now this is my favorite part. We take everything we've learned about our character, all these ingredients, and throw it into a big pot and just write. So let's just write. Limbus has lived a long life. His expression shows a deep acceptance of the ways of the world, and a relegation to flow with the current of time rather than pedal against it. His fur is dry, rough, and also caked with salt, yet somehow still relatively clean looking. His clothes are tattered and stretched out through a hard night's work. His fishing pole has an attachment on the hilt that allows for some pipe smoking. His boots are soulless, as he claims the dog's gotta breathe, man. But he does care, right? He cares for contentment. Contentment is one of the hardest feelings for folks to come to terms with. In this world of hustle and bustle, the poor man sweats over material possessions and cheap pleasures, while a rich man walks around his modest life with gratitude and whimsy. This level of enlightenment was not achieved through shaving of one's head or through a devotion to a certain deity. Rather, a life well lived, a job well done, and feelings well felt. Limbus grew up in a tumultuous home with a simian mother and an air elemental father who just couldn't get along. And through his younger years, he experienced unfathomable tragedies and losses. However, you would never know this by looking at him. However, he is a sucker for a pep talk and loves to share stories from his past to help other people, and during said stories, he will drop some of the most shocking lore about himself imaginable and just keep moving like it's nothing. When the spell protecting the village goes awry, he takes it as a cosmic sign to finally stretch his metaphorical wings and see something new. He's ready for anything and everything. Did I say that twice? I don't know. He's ready for anything and everything and just hopes to do a little good. Spine. The last step I take when creating characters is also the most important. I narrow down their spine, but Rich, what is a spine? Good, I'm glad you asked. A spine is their deepest desire. What do they want more than anything else in this world? And it's imperative that you know this, because this drives all their actions. Everything they do can be traced back to this one thing. Zooey mama, man. I have been going back and forth on Limbus's spine for a long time. I've recorded and re-recorded, and I'm mildly losing my mind because he's difficult. This character's spine is not as clearly defined as the characters I play in films, or the characters I play in theatrical productions, or the characters I've played previously on Wither and Bloom Studios. He's difficult because he's content with his life. Mostly, right? He's getting old. He's seen a lot. I think he's going into this cave to see what the future of his beautiful village looks like. The most ambitious people are going to go attempt to fix this spell and save the village, right? He wants to know who's going to be taking care of this village after he's gone. So that's why he's going. He wants to be put at peace and knowing that he can die with a smile on his face, knowing that this little slice of heaven is going to be taken care of after he's gone. God damn, money shot right there. Okay, we finally got it. That feels good. It took me a minute and it was frustrating, but it's necessary to know these things and know why you are doing what you're doing. And just know that certain characters are going to be easier than others. Wrapping up. Okay, I can't wait to play Limbus and Lamp and find out more about them through play, right? I have everything I need to go into session 0 this upcoming Tuesday. But just keep in mind that your character is never fully done till after session 0. There are questions you ask each other in session 0 in Daggerheart about how you know each other, some intertwined backstory things, why you trust certain people, and this will help you find out tons of things that you didn't even think to ask yourself when you were creating the character. So, know that your work is never done until after session 0, and then you're free to play and discover even more about your character through playing. I always say that role-playing a certain character gets easier as time goes on because you've spent actual livable time in their shoes. So recalling what it's like to be in their shoes and how they reacted to certain things gets easier because you actually did it. So if you enjoyed anything about this video, if you learned about character creation at all, if you want to see this character in action, please subscribe. Let me know down below and watch our live streams every Tuesday night at 6:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Join the Discord. Ask me questions about your character. I'd love to help you guys out with character creation. This is what I love about TTRPGs. So thank you very much and can't wait to play Limbus and Lamp. Bye, guys.